Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, co-founder and co-host of the Creative Bird Strategy podcast and house here on Clubhouse every Saturday morning and every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. on Saturdays, 9:30 a.m. on Sundays. We are making a slight change to what we're going to be doing on this podcast a little bit, all for the betterment. Obviously, we are going to be broadcasting 9 a.m. every Sunday morning Eastern Standard Time. We're not going to be doing the Saturdays anymore. We're going to be really just focusing on Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. We're going to be doing a lot more one-on-ones. We will have featured rooms on holidays, of course. We have one scheduled for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Day, but we're focusing on the 9 a.m. every Sunday morning, Eastern Standard Time, providing education, networking, and strategy. We are currently scheduled out to the end of February with the subject matter. So we're really putting it together, keeping it very consistent in what we're trying to accomplish here, which is really making sure that you're walking away to be a better educated real estate professionals. And that's really what our objective is here on the Creative Birth Strategy House. So I'm going to get started here in just a few minutes. I'm going to be inviting some people in. If you want to invite people in, that'd be great. My fingers are moving as quick as I can. And we'll get started here in just a couple minutes. Give me 1 second here. Give a quick mute. All right. So today's discussion is learning how to underwrite your next real estate investment. And what we're going to do, obviously, initially first, hang on, I just got to remove a little spam, remove from the room, delete that individual, bye bye. So we're talking about underwriting. We're going to go over worksheets. We're going to go over how to underwrite your deals from a DSCR perspective, fixed to rent, fixed to flip. And I'm going to also be able to provide these worksheets for you so you can price your own loans out, get yourself in this real estate investor mindset. When you're out there networking and creating relationships and identifying deals off market or on market, you need to be able to be savvy. You need to be able to identify opportunities. You need to be able to present those opportunities to the right individuals obviously get funded. Or if you're going to try to sell them or assign them, you need to be able to put very specific information and detail um, for the real estate professional today. I mean, they're going to ask all kinds of questions. They need to know. So, first, I want to go over some dates that are coming up that you really want to kind of put on your radar if you're in the area. So, coming up in this month, let's see if we have anything left for the rest of the month here. No, we don't. So, we're going to go into December. First Monday in December, we're going to be going Deal or No Deal in South Jersey at the Haddon Township Tap Room. We're going to be going into underwriting deals, putting them up on a screen, really getting into the details and pricing loans out. That's December 2nd. December 3rd, I'll be up in Scranton providing education and networking with Stephen Franco at his event. Looking forward to that and providing some CE. We also have a cigar event uh, December 9th down in Atlantic City at Triple Play, Monday night, 6 to 9 p.m. We have a great cigar event, networking with real estate professionals. Looking forward to that. Then we have December 19th, we have the Lehigh Valley Investor Holiday Party up at the Bethlehem Brew Works, Fegley's, and that's 6 to 8 p.m. And then December 20th, we have a holiday party in Philadelphia, Old City, at the Philadelphia School of Massage and Body Work. We're going to have over 100 real estate professionals there networking December 20th. It's a Friday night, 6 to 9. We're going to have a great time with that. And then I just announced January 11th in Philadelphia, Asset Based Lending Fundamentals 2025. We are going to instruct and provide insight how to white label and market yourself as a lender or as a very good real estate professional where you're going to be able to underwrite your own deals. We're going to go into the worksheets. We're going to dive into understanding lending and asset-based lending in 2025. We're going to do it from like 10 a.m. to like 12. We're going to have breakfast. We're going to have lunch. Are all sponsored up. We might even do a little rehab tour to follow in the Philadelphia market as well to underwrite some deals live. So Saturday, if you want to mark this down, January 11th, you want to come in on the 10th, stay to the 12th. All day Saturday, we're going to be spending some time in understanding how to underwrite the whole point of entry of underwriting deals. So I'm really excited about that, and it's just a very inexpensive point of entry. I think I'm doing a $5 entry fee for registration. Like, it's really not a moneymaker. It's just an opportunity to bring people together and circle the wagons. So yesterday I went to another great networking event in Philadelphia, and it's so interesting seeing the engagement of the real estate investor or the newer investor. Like, they want to tell you that they're new. Listen, if you're new, be confident. Tell people, hey, I'm a real estate professional. I'm looking for new opportunities. Not that you're a new real estate investor and you're trying to learn things. Okay, get the positive mindset in front of you. Be goal oriented thinking. Look at the long term perspective. Be numbers driven approach. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about today in underwriting. We're going to get in, understanding risk management and continuous learning and educating yourself and networking and collaborating and introducing other people that you just met to others and being that connector, being in the problem solving mindset, focusing on cash flow, right? And being tax and legal savvy, surrounding yourself with smart tax and legal professionals, and be resilient and be disciplined in what you're trying to do. Be focused and engaged. I want to thank our sponsors today. As always, I want to thank Lendmark Capital, where I'm a senior loan analyst, providing asset-based lending nationwide, and also providing a white label marketing product for aspiring brokers and correspondents that want to put their money to work and working with clients of their own. I want to thank MB Capital, where we provide unsecured business lines of credit. I'm a referral partner with them for the past decade and providing that for real estate professionals throughout the country. I want to thank Ms. Linda Pelagas of Realty 4-in-1, who provides national events and a national publication for real estate professionals and investors throughout the country. And I want to thank Mr. Yardell Perkins of Perkatech, our social media architect, as I call him, the Oz behind the drape, where he is providing social media administration for me and other real estate professionals, and hopefully enhancing your real estate presence online. So reach out to any one of those that can be part of your power team. Let's dive in now to underwriting your next real estate investment. So before we get to our great moderators, of course, I always want to do a little dialogue. I did put an article about this out. Underwriting a real estate investment involves thoroughly analyzing the deal's financial and operational aspects to ensure profitability and mitigate your risk. So understanding what your investment goals are. What is the purpose? Establishing whether the goal is cash flow, appreciation, tax benefits, or a mix. And then the time horizon to that. Are you aiming for short-term property profits, flipping, long-term stability, rental income? Then number two, analyze the market. Understand the neighborhood data, research, crime rates, school quality, amenities, future developments, market trends, evaluating population growth, job opportunities, and housing supply versus demand. And then you really do need to dive in and understand rent comparables, comps, looking at similar properties to determine achievable rental rates or sale prices. Then you have to get into the financial analysis, understanding your acquisition costs, purchase costs, closing costs, inspection fees, loan origination fees, draw fees. You need to understand all these things. You got to ask these questions. Always, always, always including a 10 to 20% contingency buffer for unexpected expenses. And then income projections. What's the rental income? Using realistic rental comps. Factor in potential vacancies. If you're not using 3-month vacancy right now, I think you're selling yourself short. And then look at other income potentials to the property. Consider parking fees, storage, or other amenities. Now you got to dive into operating expenses and understanding property management fees. It's somewhere anywhere between 5 and 10% of the gross rent collection. You get what you pay for, and understanding also maintenance and repairs. I'd be looking at 3 to 4 or 5% based on what you're collecting monthly to allocate for maintenance and repairs on a month-to-month basis. And understanding insurance and taxes. Insurance is getting crazy in some states, crazy. Okay, and then understanding what your responsibilities are that are to the landlord, meaning other utility expenses, and then understanding interest rates and understanding how the rates are fluctuating. Are you following the 5-year Treasury? Are you following the 10-year Treasury? Okay, in the investment space, you're following the 5-year Treasury. Understanding loan fees and prepayment penalties. There's better rates with a better prepayment penalty, but if there's a different objective with the property, have that discussion with your lender and do stress tests to your deal by modeling different interest rate scenarios. If it works at 10%, it's definitely going to work at 7%, and it's definitely going to work at 5%. So you got to look at all the potential scenarios that might work for you or against you. Profitability metrics. We're going to talk about net operating income, maybe a touch on a little cap rate, a more focus on cash on cash return and debt service coverage ratio, of course. And then looking at vacancy rate and exit strategies are things you need to be considering, and market sensitivity. And then you got to really start understanding like the tax implications, depreciation, 1031 exchange, local taxes. And in your mind, you got to think of best case, worst case scenarios always. And what type of softwares are you using to underwrite your deals? Are they Excel? Is it a software online like a Bigger Pockets? What professionals do you have in your power team? What accountant? What agents? What property managements are you having in your space to better educate yourself, right? To make good decision timelines and identifying opportunities and revisiting goals and ensuring numbers online, comparing the deal to others to gauge its competitiveness. So these are a lot of things you need to take in consideration when you're underwriting your deal. Stephen, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion. Learn how to underwrite your next real estate investment.
Hey, Joe, thanks. This is Steve Franco. I'm a broker and a landlord. Been renting various types of properties since about 1997. Sorry, caught me sort of mid-breakfast. But anyway, so I think the other thing that you also have to consider, I mean, everything you mentioned is 90% of what I look at when I'm doing a deal. It's all about the spreadsheet. Don't fall in love with the building. And if you're investing out of your area, don't make assumptions based on what you know. I have a lot of New York and New Jersey investors coming to me and saying, well, I'm sure it's going to appreciate at least 50% in 5 years. And I'm like, well, I've lived here since 1998. It's not going to. We appreciated a lot in the last 3 years, but this is not an appreciation market. The other reality is when you're comparing different regions, the construction type and quality of the property. I grew up in Boston, a lot of 1790s and earlier construction, and out here in the coal country, it's 1890s to 1920s, and frankly, it's worse construction. And then I have an investor from here who's buying down in Florida, and he's like, why am I getting so much better results down there? Why am I getting so much lower repairs? Well, because most things in Florida, at least the part of Florida he's investing in, were built in the 1980s. You're going to have less repair costs in something built more modern than you will something built older. So it's a lot of the mathematics, a lot of the soft stuff matches into the mathematics. I tell my Northeast PA investors, your first winter or two are going to be horrible, because that's when you find out that some former grandpa ran the water pipes outside between the outside wall and the inside wall with no insulation. And so when you get a bitter cold day, it freezes. That's when you find out some other bad planning, deferred maintenance, whatever. That first winter up here in the Northeast is going to be when you learn all this. That's when your building gets stress tested. So you have to sort of be ready for that. And like Joe says, you can't just, a lot of lenders say, oh, put 5% to maintenance. Well, no, in a building built in the 1890s, 10, 15% to maintenance, at least till you get it in line. And the insurance companies are getting crazy now, because the one that I was recently dealing with, I'm moving away from them. If the roof was more than 15 years old, regardless of its functionality, regardless of its warranty, nope, we're not going to insure the roof unless you replace it. So they're getting a little bit over the top. I'm sure it's because of their losses. I'm sure on their spreadsheet it makes perfect sense. But you want to talk to your insurance professional. What are they going to require here? Up here, flood zone is a huge issue, comes up a lot. Mine subsidence. So you also, if you are buying out of your market, you got to work with someone that your realtor should invest in your market, so that they can tell you from personal experience, not just from data, hey, this is what it really looks like. And, but again, everything plugs into the spreadsheet. I tell my sellers, I don't care what's wrong with your building. I care the cost of repairing it. And that's how I do my numbers. And the last thing is, don't trust anyone's pro forma numbers. I just had someone actually scoop a deal out from under me because they thought a 1,500 square foot house in Pittston would rent for $4,500. And I can tell you they're about 3 times what it should rent for. So don't trust somebody else's theory. Make sure you talk to a local professional that knows the facts.
Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate that. And I've been beating up Steve mentally here to get him to answer the questions that I keep sending him to submit for submission. And if anybody wants the questions that are basic to ask any client, whether it's a very savvy investor or the very new investor, there's just basic questions that you need to ask. Okay, and once you have 90% of this information, some of it you don't even need anymore if you're going to do continuous business with somebody. So the underwrite a deal, whether for yourself or someone else, the questions are the same over and over again. You're not curing cancer here. You're underwriting a deal. Okay, basic questions: what is the client name? What is the percentage of ownership? If the percentage of ownership is a partnership, you have to have a frank conversation with yourselves and say who has the best credit, right? Make that individual 51% owner on paper on the operating agreement, because the best credit gets you the best results on leverage, rate, and circumstance. And then understanding what your reserves are. What are your reserves? Savings, checking, stock, 401k, self directed IRA. And what's the name of the LLC buying the property? And what is the full subject address? I had somebody text me a street address with no town. I was able to figure it out because I knew where they were from. But why not throw me a grenade over the fence with no pin in it? Why don't you try that out for size, right? Give the individual the full address so they can look it up and find out information. Is it a purchase? Is it a refinance? Is it a delayed finance? Did you buy it cash and now you want to do a fixed to rent on it? Why did you have to buy it cash? Give a little explanation to that. Is it a fixed to flip? Is it a fixed to rent? Is it a DSCR loan? How much are you buying it for? How much did you buy it for? When's the closing date, or when was the closing date? Right? What's the current balance if it's a refinance? Is it free and clear? Is there debt on it? Is it expiring? These are basic questions you want to let somebody know. Very specific answers. Were there repairs completed on the project? Were there repairs to be completed on the project? And then we need to understand what the after repair value is and or what the current value is. Okay? What is the property currently rented? If it's not, what is the market rent? Right? What is the estimated rent? What's the yearly taxes? By the way, are you pulling permits? Those taxes might go up 10 to 20%. Have you talked to a good insurance agent and understand builder's risk insurance if it's a fixed to rent, fixed to flip? And then if you're going to have a stabilized insurance policy, what does that insurance policy look like for the year? And then these are some questions if you're going to do a fixed to flip or fixed to rent. Not DSCR, but fixed to rent, fixed to flip. How many flips have you completed in the past 4 years? Any of the partners in the LLC? Well, I'm a realtor. I've done a lot of flips for other people. No, that doesn't count. How many flips have you completed with ownership in the past 4 years? No, I wholesaled a lot of properties. Doesn't that count? No. How many flips have you completed in the past 4 years with ownership? How many rehabs to rentals completed in the past 4 years? Well, I watched a lot of rehabs on YouTube, and I watched them complete. Does that count? No. How many rehabs to rentals completed in the past 4 years with ownership? How many rentals purchased in the past 4 years with ownership? How many new construction completed for flip in the past 4 years with ownership? How many new construction completed for rental in the past 4 years? How many third-party renovations as a GC, third party, completed for real estate investors in the past 4 years? Okay, we take that, we look at that, and then we look pre-COVID. Now, the next 4 years, how many flips have you completed in the past those 4 years? How many rehabs for rentals have you completed in those 4 years? How many rentals did you buy in the last 4 years? Same on the construction questions, because we have to look at the pre and post COVID 8 year look at it, what you've done. If it's all zero, it's okay. Just be honest. If you're a real estate agent and you've done it for others, that's great, but you don't have any experience in the air of asset-based lending. Be honest and understand your numbers, because we're going to verify. If you said you did 3 flips, we're going to need to see those addresses, and we're going to verify those, that you had ownership in those. Why not just be honest and transparent? There's nothing wrong with it. This is a great way of just being honest with yourself and honest with your lender, honest with your real estate agent, honest with your mirror and who you are and how to underwrite a deal. Be the smarter investor. Justin, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Learn how to underwrite your next real estate investment.
Good morning, Joe. Justin, Southern Louisiana market, doing a number of things down here, man. I wanted to just kind of, I guess, pivot on what you were saying. First of all, yeah, it's important to be honest with your bank, with your lenders, with your partners, and everything else. I mean you know, that almost should go without saying. But it's more important to be honest with yourself. And I think that's a key element to what underwriting can provide you when done correctly. And you need to underwrite a deal in a number of ways. Right now, I'm looking, like I said, to scale up to do something that's a little bit outside of residential. So this particular property is like a Brownsville. So educating and figuring out, okay, what are some environmental things that you may be looking at? What is the process in the city for that? What is the process for any particular grant? What are the guarantees they'll give you? And what kind of pivot could that send your project in? But even if you're looking at something residential, like you say, fix and flip, it's important to know which direction my project could go in based on whether or not I might be required to open up a wall. That's another thing people don't consider when taking on and looking at projects that are just sometimes older homes, or let's just say you're in a city like Houston that's been experiencing floods every year. And so because of the floods, you have mold, and because mold has become a problem, they put regulations on there, and they may have changed some coding. Down here where I'm at, Baton Rouge, there's a lot of coding that has changed. So if you were planning in your brain to be doing certain things or a certain way and underwriting that a certain way from a construction standpoint, or even from a process standpoint, you have the element of the cost of construction, and you also have the element of time, which also has a set of costs associated with it. So, all those things considered, if not put together correctly and not planned for and prepared for, then you definitely could be looking at a tough situation. Like I said, the example I was leaning into was, let's say you buy yourself a property, it's supposed to be a flip property. You don't expect to have to open up the walls. You don't have any plans to have to open up the walls. So it's all good. You in your mind are, being honest and forthcoming with yourself and your lender, right? However, you didn't do the proper research, and maybe you didn't check the updated regulations or something like that, or you had a contractor who didn't do the same thing, which in this case you may be able to hold him liable depending on what he did and what kind of paperwork you have on him. But let's just say you get the property, you get into the project, and the permitting office or the inspecting office says, "Oh no, you're going to have to go in here, replace these studs, or you're going to have to go in here, update this wiring, right, and in order for you to do the rest of your project," which happens a lot in a lot of places. So those are things that you just got to really check, not just once, but check twice on. And there's a long list of other things you probably need to look out for. But those are some of the things that come into my mind, and some of the things I'm doing right now, and also had experience with. So what I had to share. So.
Justin, thank you. And between what you're saying and then some comments in the chat, I think the most important piece of underwriting a deal, especially when it comes to fixed to rent, fixed to flip, is the repair construction budget. And understanding how to put that together and understanding what to look for. No one's going to come out and look at it for you for free. It sounds good, but nobody, they're going to get the job. No, listen, there's plenty of work out there for a very qualified contractor. Believe me, the great contractors are very busy, and they really don't have time to waste on just wasted discussions. Okay? So you need to be, one, prepared to pay for their time and compensate them. Not wink, wink, you'll get this job, and I'm going to let three other people look and do a quote for me as well. That's not going to work. Eventually, they're just not going to return your phone calls. You need to know how to underwrite a deal. You need to know how to look at a construction cost. You need to know how to hire a home inspector. You need to have money to put into the deal. You need to have skin in the game. And being honest with yourself as a real estate investor, the strategy is it's a critical aspect of being a successful real estate investor. It involves self-awareness, recognizing your strengths and weaknesses, and aligning your investment strategy. Your true financial goal and risk tolerance. If you don't have the money to do the deal, find a partner, because you know what? If you don't have enough money to get even into the deal, how are you going to close on a deal? Assessing your financial situation realistically, understanding your cash flow, understanding your risk tolerance, and understanding long-term financial goals. Knowing your knowledge and experience level. Are you a beginner? It's okay. It's great that you're licensed in real estate, but you've never done a transaction for yourself. You've done it only for others. It just doesn't count. I'm sorry. This is a reality check. Learning versus jumping in. Time commitment. Being committed to doing something. Like we're celebrating our 80th podcast. That's a commitment. Season 2, Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. going forward. We're committed. Time commitment, providing insight, getting yourself educated, identifying the right investment preferences. What type of property do you really want to you relate to? Understanding active versus passive investment. Understand geographic focus. Is it an area you feel comfortable in? And what are the realistic expectations on return? Growth versus income focus. Expectations versus reality. Patience and liquidity. And some personal strengths and weaknesses. What's your negotiation skills? Like, how are they? Can you negotiate? Do I want to play poker against you or not? Project management, networking ability, and being honest about the level of effort you're willing to put in. And accepting that not every deal will work out. And evaluating the risk of over leveraging debt versus equity. And these spreadsheets that I provide to you to either price your own deal out or underwrite your deal will let you know what your exposure will be, debt versus equity. And setting boundaries, time and energy limits, emotional investment. You got to take care of your health first, because you got to be quick on your feet, right? So you got to take care of yourself health wise, eat right, sleep right, all that. Amy, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion. Learn how to underwrite your next real estate investment.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me. I am Amy Palvido. I am from Austin, Texas. I'm currently the chairwoman of the U.S. PropTech Council, which is the trade association for the real estate technology industry in the United States. I'm also the founder of a PropTech company called Facilimax, which is a digital twin platform for commercial real estate, which just means we basically create a catalog of everything that's on a building, if I want to explain it that way, and put it into a 3D image, basically is what we do. But I've been a long-time real estate investor since 2008. And before that, I was a general contractor. I had my own construction company since 2003. So I've been in commercial real estate forever, like 21 years. So yeah, but this is a great discussion because underwriting is one of those skills that every obviously it's one of the things you put in your tool belt as a real estate investor, but it's also one of those things that you should do and hone your skill on a daily basis. It's how I started in real estate investing. No joke. It was there was a group of us of people wanting to learn how to invest, and so somebody would host a monthly meeting, and we would just, no joke, underwrite deals, and somebody would offer to be the guinea pig that day, or that evening, and so they would underwrite a deal, or a couple people would underwrite a deal. They would show us their underwriting, and then we would just try to pick it apart. Or it was like a very Socratic method way to learn, but it was great. And I learned from everybody in that room. Of like, oh, what did you think about this? And oh, this is what's happening now. And so it was focused on multifamily at the time, like larger units, but it was a really good way to do that. So I encourage everybody just to underwrite a lot of deals, and then as you're underwriting the deals, like every number that goes into that deal, every single one, you need to get a source for that number, like especially if you're starting out and you can't guess, and you can't use some national number to use as your number. No, you need to go underwrite a deal, and then you need to go if there's plumbing involved or whatever it might be. This is how you learn. So you might not buy every deal, but you need to be underwriting a lot of deals, and that's one of your key parts to your education.
So, Amy, now that you brought up the prop tech, where do you think prop tech and rehab construction budgeting strategies will come together for the newer investor or the mid investor? Somebody that's more experienced obviously has some form of software that they're using. But where do you think the point of entry will be for the newer investor with rehab construction budgeting and draw scheduling strategies with prop tech?
There's going to be a lot, and I'm already seeing several around the using AI to just estimate for you, and it will give you so you can basically, and we do this on commercial real estate, so we do larger projects, but my company can make a digital twin of a building, give you what your deferred maintenance is on that building, give you what your just to get that property up to code, give you all of that information is what my software does. But then if you want to do other things, like if you have planned improvements or whatever, that you can do all of that pretty much inside a piece of software now. So for an experienced investor, this is great, because it helps you on the kind of deal fatigue kind of side, because you're underwriting a ton of deals and you're trying to figure out which one is the best. So, and there's a lot of software besides just construction and real estate. I mean, the construction and the repairs. There's software just around. You can take a T12 and a rent roll and underwrite a deal, right? And do the base part of it, and then there's just a lot of software out there now. But for the newer investor, my suggestion to everybody is, do not rely on the AI. Do it yourself. You've got to do the grunt work to go through this and use an Excel sheet and put your numbers in there and understand that Excel sheet and do all these different things. And you have to slog through it so that if you get to some sort of AI tool, that's where you graduate to, because you got to know if the AI is kicking you back bad numbers. And you won't know that had you never slogged through the process before. So it doesn't take long to understand how to underwrite, especially on a single family home. But yeah, but there's a ton of tools out there now. And I think the cool thing that will help newer investors is the VR tools that are coming out on your remodel. So if you're planning to do a fix and flip, you can create kind of your designs now, and you can walk through with a VR inside of a house and see what it looks like. And then you can go, oh, because a lot of people just can't visualize it. So now you can just put on an Oculus, walk around your house, and then go, oh, that's what so you can pick between design and understand what that's going to look like, so you can make a choice, right? So there's a lot of stuff coming out now that'll help in that arena for people that aren't construction. Like, I was very construction skilled when I first started real estate investing. Not everybody has that skill.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Good stuff. And I know you talk about this on your own podcast. So how do we find that as well, just so people can track you down and listen to what you're doing?
Sure. So I host several podcasts. If you go to the YouTube, it's US Prop Tech, and that's our channel. I host, it's called the Prop Tech Genius Show. I interview several people, and I push out those interviews like once a week. I host every week on LinkedIn and also on YouTube a live show called the Commercial Real Estate Morning News Show. And it's every Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Central. And I bring some experts on that show, and we just talk through the news, the most relevant news in commercial real estate. So I have several people from Hector Colinas, who runs This Week in Co-working. I have Deanie Taylor, who has been in the healthcare real estate space for 45 years. And then I have David Auerbach, who runs a REIT ETF, and he also is he also produces the Daily REIT Beat and produces that a lot of content about real estate investment trusts. And then I will have Maria Yellow come on, or I'll have DJ Fellini come on. It just depends on kind of the topics I want to talk about. But these are usually people that are really good at what they do, and they know the commercial real estate space, and we'll just talk through the news. And it's a really cool thing because it helps you give like you're going to get the news, but when you listen to these people, they just put it in a really good perspective for you, and you understand more. So that's what I like to offer out. So those are my two shows. So yeah, and then we have our main event for the U.S. PropTech Council is happening next year, March 9th, at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. So we'll be publishing out. The tickets will go on sale in December 1, and we will be having, it's going to be a very big day. And we'll have 4 panels, and we're going to be talking about AI and data centers, robots, prop tech at sports facilities, and we're going to have people from the large NFL stadiums and the soccer stadiums and CODA come out and talk about that. And we're also going to talk about space tech and how it can be used for prop tech. So it's really going to be a really cool event. I'm really excited. December 1 is when we're going to start publishing out everything, and we've been kind of putting it together. But yeah, it's going to be a super great event. So that's the U.S. PropTech Council, PropTech America's event on March 9th. So I think those are all my things. But yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find the U.S. PropTech Council at our website. So there you go.
If you could pop that on the chat room too as well, Amy, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So Amy touched on some really great subjects when it comes to the rehab construction budgeting and the draw scheduling strategy. So rehab construction budgeting and draw scheduling are critical components of a successful real estate renovation project. Proper budgeting ensures that the project stays financially on track, while a well-planned draw schedule ensures that contractors and vendors are paid on time, maintaining a smooth progress and reducing the risk of disputes. So, what I try to do is I try to stick with everybody that I close a fixed to rent or fixed to flip loan. From the minute it closes, I'm emailing them. Is there anything I can help you with? How's the scope of work looking like? You got to make sure you have a very strong, detailed scope of work. Clarity is key. Breaking down the task and accounting for unexpected costs and contingencies. Okay, obtaining multiple bids is really smart to do when it comes to the rehab construction budgeting, and vetting contractors, of course, carefully. Using unit pricing for common items like standardized costs or knowing material costs. Hang out in Home Depot and some lumber yards, man, and start thinking, seeing what are you being charged, right? Accounting for overhead and soft costs, tracking progress and reassessing periodically. Okay, maybe obtaining an intern from college that's into property project management. I'm speaking with somebody right now that we're going to probably do a project management discussion on our podcast. I'm looking to put it together as we speak. I'll have something to announce. It'll be in the next couple of weeks. One of the podcasts coming up, and understanding how to put the draw scheduling strategy, right? Creating a payment schedule tied to milestones, paying for work completed, not in advance, ensuring transparency with change orders, including a holdback for final completion. having a clear contract and payment terms, considering using a draw management service. Some additional tips for both budgets and draw schedules: regular communication, incentivize timely completion, track actual versus estimated costs, review draw requests carefully. Managing rehab budgets and draw schedules require detailed planning, consistent monitoring, and good communication with contractors. Being proactive as an investor and creating a clear structure for both budgeting and payments can ensure your rehab project, to stay on track and completed within both budget and schedule. Good morning, Linda. Welcome. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning: learning how to underwrite your next real estate investment.
Good morning, Clubhouse investors. Good morning, Joseph. I hope everyone is doing great this morning. My name is Linda Pliagas, and I've been a real estate agent for over 17 years. I'm also an accredited investor. I'm based in California, and my family and I own Realty411.com. We're a news and information website for investors. Now, in regards to underwriting real estate deals, let's first point out what underwriting is. It's the process of evaluating risks so that we can protect ourselves as investors, as well as the banks, insurance agencies, and the other financial institutions involved in the transaction. Now, with that being said, the best way to do this is to make sure all the income and expenses are accurate. Ask for the rent estoppels. That's the first thing you want to do. You want to ensure that the rental income is up to date and accurate. Ask for receipts for the past 3 months. Find out what the utility costs were. If they did any recent repairs, ask for those receipts as well, so you can get an idea of what has been done to the property, what repairs were already done, and you can forecast what you will need to do to that property or to those units. Now, it's important to inspect the property personally. Don't just Google Earth it and rely on photos, because that's not going to tell you the whole story on the property. Calculate your new tax rate and insurance costs correctly, because they're going to be changing and you're going to be paying more than what the previous owner paid. So you need to calculate those costs correctly. Don't be afraid to ask your realtor or broker to help you to make sure that all your numbers are what they're supposed to be. Now, from my personal experience, no matter how much you work the numbers, in the end, they always seem to be a little bit more than what you anticipate. You may forget to add on the gardening expense or the lighting expense for the general common area. So it's important to do and redo your numbers. Also, try and forecast what you're going to need to do on the property, the larger improvements, such as how much life does the roof have left? What about the ACs and the appliances? How much life do they have left? Try and forecast when you're going to need to replace all those items before you buy the property, so you can have a clear picture and understanding of the costs that are going to be associated with managing that asset. And of course, always have reserves for repairs. Thank you so much, Joseph. Back to you.
Thanks, Linda. Any updates with Realty 411 events before the end of the year? Anything going on?
Well, we already have our next event scheduled. We're focusing on virtual events for the rest of the year because they've been very successful for us, and we love having people from all around the country and, in fact, all around the world on our virtual events. We just hosted one yesterday, which was very successful. We focused on rehabbing in Buffalo, New York, as well as international real estate. So that was really exciting. Our next live event will be at the Shoreline Yacht Club in Long Beach, California. We have already secured the space. We're going to be sharing a wonderful day of networking, education. We'll have sophisticated investors joining us from around the country and throughout the state of California. And we're going to be sharing appetizers, mimosas, and a lot of knowledge. So, like to join everyone, like to ask everyone to join us. You can find details on our in-person event as well as our virtual events on our website, realty411.com.
Well, thank you, Linda, and thank you for that update as well. We've been talking heavy about the rehab, construction, and renovation, and I don't think we're touching enough on the debt service coverage ratio and really understanding what are the costs that come into play when underwriting the deal for the long term. What's the after repair value? Does it make sense to cash out or stay cash neutral? Will there be a true savings in the rate, right, on a 30-year fixed money? Absolutely. There could be almost a half a point to three-quarters of a point difference in maximizing out the loan to value and cash out compared to just doing no cash out, maybe leaving a couple of dollars in it, but look at the cash on cash return. Do you make all that money back year one or year two? Then also keeping consideration of depreciation. You have to understand what your market rent is. Is your market rent Section 8 or is your market rent? Or is it the same thing? And really understanding what your expenses are. Understanding your mortgage debt service, your monthly debt service, mortgage and interest. Understanding taxes, understanding insurance, understanding property management, understanding deferred maintenance, understanding vacancy. Even if you come with a prepayment penalty in a commercial loan for an investment property, it's not penalizing you to pay down the debt. You just can't pay off the entire loan. So it makes setting yourself up for a 13th payment every year, sending $500 at a time toward the loan balance. You just can't pay more than 20% of the loan amount off or more, or you'll get penalized in that prepayment. So the prepayment penalty is not there to hurt you. It's there to make sure that the lender makes money on their loan that they're providing to you. But at the same time, there's workarounds to be able to pay down that debt and make that really good performing debt for yourself. I mean, there is such a thing as good performing debt, and that could be a great cash on cash return mortgage. Now, again, basic numbers that you need to understand to underwrite a deal, quick pencil. But I'll provide all these to you. So if you email me, I'll send you the Mayo sheet, the cash flow worksheet. I'll send you the pricing sizers so you can price your own loans out. I will teach you how to do that. And then if you want to come to Asset Based Lending Fundamentals 2025 in January, come for the weekend. You'll have our utmost attention in making sure that you walk away being, one, a better underwriter, but two, being a great real estate professional. Understanding after repair value, understanding how to back off the costs and what are they, understanding how to back off the repairs and what is your maximum allowable offer, but then also what's your kind of your run up to where should you start making offers at and breaking that down. The worksheets, we're the only clubhouse room that provides this insight on underwriting your deals, worksheets, pricing sizers, construction budget worksheets, and how to put together a draw schedule. We want you to walk away to be a better underwriter of your own deals than others. Ron, thank you for coming up. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Learn how to underwrite your next real estate investment.
Thank you for answering my loan request this week. I find your services very valuable.
Thank you.
I have a question to the team. Joe, one of my new property, I have to do a job paint, and Joe Motella, one of the prior meeting, mentioned places where he solicit contractor. So I'm looking for painter for single family house, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Could you tell us, like, where would you refer your audience to find a new contractor? Which website? I tried AngelList, and I tried those websites that they are online.
Yeah.
But most of the contractors are expensive there. They're not like with reasonable prices.
I mean, I think Ron, I think he uses Thumbtack as well. I think he uses Thumbtack. But if you need a painter in Philadelphia, I have a really good painting group that if you email me, I can make an introduction. Do you need somebody in Philadelphia, Ron? Yeah, so send me an email regarding the painting job, and I'll put you in touch with a group out of Philadelphia that it might be able to help. All right?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. So, there's a lot of sources out there, and I'm going to come back to Amy. If you got a minute, Amy, is there any software that you like, or any websites that you like from a prop tech perspective that can give you direction in service providers in the investment space? Any suggestions?
No, I mean, there probably is, but so way back in the day when I was a general contractor, I was performing work in 16 states, and so I had to source subs all the time. And what I generally did was I first started by calling supply houses. So if I needed an electrician, I would call Gray Bar. If I needed a painter, I'd call Sherwin-Williams. If I needed, a plumber, I'd call Ferguson. I would just call the supply houses because they know who the good ones are. They know who pays their bills on time. The guys at the desk know, or the girls at the desk know who the good contractors are. And the ones that are doing a lot of work. And so I would just find, generally my trick was I would find one. So I would find an electrician and I say, hey, who's the best HVAC guy in town? Who's the best plumber in town? Because they know who the good ones are because they work with them all the time. And so they'd be like, oh, that's my buddy Joe, or that's this person, or whatever. And so you start with one. So the trades, like the MEP trades, they know each other really well. The carpenters and drywall people and finishers and those people, cabinet folks, they know each other really well. And so if you just start with one or two, you can probably fill out your subs pretty quickly. But and that's how I did it. And I'm looking for more and more of those resources. But what I'm finding is a contractor. I mean, it's been like this since I've been a contractor since 2003. This is not a new phenomenon. Contractors come and go. People get in and out of the space, and so you're always having to source new ones. So even if you had a list like Angie's list, I don't know how good it stays over time because people get out, move, do whatever, change jobs. They might be a good plumber one day, and they might lose 3 or 4 people, and then be a bad plumber the next. So I don't know how we solve that problem, but I just always found that calling supply houses was always a good way to do it.
I think that's brilliant. And starting with word of mouth, networking with other investors, right, Amy? I mean,
yeah.
It's humbling. It's humbling. Hey, I need a painter. What's so humbling about that? Just ask.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I just don't understand where the ego gets in the way of just, hey, I need a source. I need help. I think some people have a problem saying that. You know what I mean? More than anything else. I don't know. That's just a thought. But I appreciate your insight. I never thought about the suppliers, which is brilliant. Thank you very much. Talking like you said, talking to suppliers, using platforms and contractor networks, Thumbtack, Google Reviews and Yelp, Angie's List and Home Advisor, Houzz, which is HOUZZ, leveraging local business resources, local chambers. Chamber of Commerce has got a lot of different service providers. I went down to a Chamber of Commerce event in an area where I'm doing a lot of lending, and I met a GC, I met a flooring guy, I met a home inspector, termite. I mean, I almost met the whole team, right? State and local licensing authorities. Evaluating, the contractor's credentials and experience is key. Understanding, are they bonded? Are they experienced with similar projects? Do they have their own portfolio that's relevant to what you're doing? What's their specific expertise? Some final thoughts. We'll go ladies first, of course. Linda, some final thoughts to our discussion this morning. Learn how to underwrite your next real estate investment.
Yes, hi, Joseph. In regards to finding service providers, I really like calling the apartment association in my local area. They always have great sources available, so that's one of my sources as well. And I just would encourage everyone to, do your numbers, redo them. They always seem to be different at the end of the day. So just try and get as close to the actual income and expenses as possible, so you don't have any surprises. And please always have reserves available or access to credit for those unexpected expenses. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen, your final thoughts to our discussion. Learn how to underwrite your next real estate investment. Stephen?
All right. Sorry, I had to find a mute button. Yeah, I mean, the underwriting is absolutely key, especially getting to your local RIA group, getting to your local online networking group like Pennsylvania Real Estate Investors or whatever, and talking to the local investors in the community. Find out who the contractors are that do the work right and do it affordably, and get them out there. And don't take no for an answer when they say, no, it's okay, you don't have to pay me. Even if you just give them $20 for a cup of coffee, because Joe's right, you'll burn them out fast. 2, 3, 4 deals where they weren't the best bid, or you didn't end up buying it. And it's absolutely essential to make sure that every number you put in your spreadsheet, every number you rely on, is backed up by something. If you're brand new, bring in a partner. And if you haven't done a certain type of investing, like I'm probably buying my first mobile home park or getting involved in my first mobile home park. I don't want to buy it alone because I don't know mobile home park investing. So I made sure to secure a partner. This person happens to be a percentage partner, but however you arrange them in the equation, that has that experience. Because after you close it is when you discover, like I did when I brought my first 20 rentals in 6 months, I walked in and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I really don't have a clue. I did all this research before I bought, but I actually don't know the on-the-ground tactics, and I have no one to call. Make sure you have someone on your team, property manager or advisor or partner, that's been there before, so when something unexpected comes up, you know how to handle it, and that person can help you underwrite the deal before you get there. So really, the numbers matter, but the numbers only are as good as the people who gave them to you.
Thanks, Stephen. Justin, your final thoughts to learning how to underwrite your next real estate investment. Justin, going once? There you go.
Yeah, I'm here, man. Look, I'll just echo. I got the kids out now, but it's some real good information. I think, like Stephen was just saying, if you're new to it, partner up with somebody who's doing it successfully at the time, and find ways to bring them value. Don't put your whole career on hold to do that. But I think doing that is a key way to get some success early on and make sure you're crossing all your T's and dotting your I's.
Thank you, Justin. Amy, your final thought to learning how to underwrite your next real estate investment.
Great room today. I would say that so when you're learning, obviously, don't forget to do. So if you actually get the deal, that you've been underwriting and you're doing all these great things, do what most of the military, what I learned to do was just the after action review. So after you do the underwriting and you get into the deal and you flip the deal, go back to that underwriting that you did to get that deal and how good was it, and then learn from it. If it was way off, and because I was flipping tons of homes and I was doing lots of single family rentals, all this stuff, sometimes you could forget to do that, and so the learnings can come late. So don't do what I did. Learn to take your underwriting, do the deal, go back to that underwriting, go, where did I screw up, so I don't do it again. So do those things, because then you'll save it, and then just the big rule of thumb in any underwriting is always have your oops money. Just pad it 10-20%, because you're going to open up a wall, or you're going to find that you forgot that there was cast iron pipes, or you didn't look at the outlets and realize there was no grounds in them. There's always going to be something that you didn't do, especially when you're learning early on. But if I could provide a resource to you, I wrote an article for Forbes. It's called The 8 Things Most Multifamily Investors Miss During Due Diligence. And it's all about physical due diligence. So if you go out to Forbes, and it's under my previous name, which is Amy Tiemann, but if you go out there, you'll see it, and that'll walk you through some really good electrical, HVAC, foundation, different things that you're going to look for, and hopefully that helps everybody.
Thanks, Amy. And what I hear here is the confidence that our moderators have, being a real estate professional. And I think confidence as a real estate professional is key to building trust with clients or other fellow professionals, navigating negotiations, and succeeding in a competitive industry. Mastering your knowledge, knowing your market, and staying informed, anticipating questions that can come up, building expertise, specializing, practicing scripts, using really good data, developing strong communication skills, be clear and concise, active listening, rehearse tough conversations, maintain a professional image, be punctual, be organized, invest in branding, leveraging technology and tools, CRM software, high quality marketing, stay tech savvy, building a strong support system, surrounding yourself with the smartest people that you feel comfortable with. And maybe feel a little uncomfortable, right? Maybe thinking about getting coached or mentored, asking for help, practicing and preparing, role play scenarios, knowing your properties, revisiting past deals, focusing on mindset, embracing a growth mentality, visualizing your success, celebrating your wins, building credibility through results, developing a true track record, delivering results, being honest. Take care of yourself and be healthy, managing stress, and investing in self-improvement. Confidence is built over time through preparation, experience, and consistency. By focusing on some of these strategies, specifically in the underwriting space, it can project assurance and authority in every interaction. I want to thank everybody this morning. Great room. I want to thank our sponsors, of course, Ms. Linda Pelagas from Realty 411, MB Capital, where I'm a referral partner providing unsecured business lines of credit. I want to thank Mr. Yodel Perkins of Perkatech, providing social media architecture and insight for real estate professionals. And I'd like to thank Lendmark Capital, where I'm an asset-based lender nationwide as a senior loan analyst. And we're going to be here every Sunday morning, starting after our 80th podcast, by the way. 80th we've done this past year. We're very excited about that. We're going Sundays, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. And then we'll do some pop-up one-on-ones. We're going to do also featured discussions on holidays going forward. So we're already scheduled for Thanksgiving and Christmas at 9 a.m. as well. And my quote this morning: when one is truly ready for a thing, it's put into appearance. This is Joe Scarice, co-founder and co-host of the Creative Birth Strategy podcast and house, and have a fantastic week. And I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. Thank you.
Have a blessed Sunday, everyone.